All right, here we go. Episode 70. I can't wait for this one. Yeehaw. Let's get it rolling. Come on in. Happy Friday, everybody. Okay. Let me switch over. Ooh. All right, let's do it. Welcome. Come on in, folks. We have an awesome show tonight. I honestly was very excited about doing tonight's show. So, come on in, grab a drink. What's up, Donovan, John, Corey? Come on in. People are starting to pop in now. Yeah. I can't wait to do tonight's show. It's called Taiwan Rules. And, yeah. Let's see here. Where should I start? First of all, let me check a few things. If for some reason the power goes out, hold on a second. If the power goes out, give it a few minutes. It's raining out, it's windy, and I live on the beach, so just like that, the power can go out. If that's what happens, chill out, and I'll reboot everything. If it doesn't come up, go to Instagram, Cardone Magic. That's my Instagram, and I'll do the live feed there. That's my backup channel, I guess. I'm guessing a lot of you have fun weekends planned. Here in New York City at the beach, it is going to rain. So, I spent today with a buddy, Ray. I don't think he's watching, but hi, Ray. He fixed my Surrey bike. I have a 6-person bicycle, you know, the kind that looks like a Flintstone car. And I turned it into a tiki machine of sorts. And, oh, Cassandra's birthday. Happy birthday. Amanda, what's up? Helen, how are you doing? So I got the 6-person bike up and running. I had to buy 2 new wheels, which cost an arm and a leg. $450 for each wheel. The brakes are now enclosed into the wheel. They're not disc brakes on the outside. $450 a wheel, and I had to get 2 of them. Ugh. But I got my 6-person bicycle for $500. So I got a deal. It's worth every penny. William, what's up, brother? If you've ever seen a Surrey bike, it's probably at a tourist attraction, like a boardwalk, like Ocean City, Maryland. People ride them up and down the boardwalk. They're literally the Funmobile. Like, who's bugging me? Oh, someone just messaged me. They saw the Lost Romero film. Oh, I can't wait to hear about that. Mama in the house. How you doing, Mama? Cheers. So yeah, the Surrey bike. If you see somebody, thank you. That much per yeah, it's kind of crazy. Yeah, if you're ever out here at Rockaway and it's warm out, we can go for a ride. It's ridiculously fun. It's literally a Flintstone mobile. What else? Last night I did my variety show at Wits End, and it's going well. It was the second time for the weekly. Next week is going to be even better. It's just getting better every week, bigger crowds, and it's awesome. I can't wait to see how it goes. It's slowly just gonna do well. I can smell it. I'm being picky with the acts. I want the acts to be really good. And the venue's got a good setup. Everything's working out. The food's good. So if you're in New York City, Rockaway Beach, and you want to have a dinner theater experience, my night is the Thursdays at Wits End. Check it out. It's literally a party like no other. Peter, what's up? Fallon. What else? Oh yeah, Cassandra, happy birthday. You got it. Oh, I almost forgot to show this. Amanda drew this. Wow. I love it. I love the colors. I like the whole thing. It's great. I like how you captured the background. Thank you. Very, very, very much. I like it a lot. I don't know what to say. It's very cool. It's great art. I think it captures the whole vibe really well. So thank you, Amanda. Uh-oh. What did you put, Helen, to get Zalthon after you? Come on. Zalthon the Tyrant in the house. Sorry, I don't know what you said. Oh yeah. So tonight, I'm going to be giving away one of these. It's a New York Variety All-Stars t-shirt. This was my variety group I used to tour in with the Strongman and the Sword Swallower. I love these shirts. I'm going to be giving away one of these tonight. So if you are in the chat at a quarter after, I will give you what to write. What else? Oh! So Monday, no show. I'm taking off. No show on Monday. Next Wednesday, I have another guest. I'm going to have in the show a good friend of mine who's an amazing talent. He's one of the world's greatest balloon sculptors. Balloon sculpting. His name's Todd Neufeld. He's a good buddy, and we work together, and he's amazing. He's the guy that, let's say you're throwing a giant corporate event and you want something cool, you'll hire him to show up, build the decor out of balloons, and maybe make a centerpiece that's like, I don't know, a life-size car or something like that. He's the guy. I'll tell a quick story. Well, no, I'm going to save that story. I'm not going to tell it now. He saved my butt once with a balloon. And I'm going to tell that story. Hold on. I'm going to tear this piece of paper in half and make a note. Todd Neufeld. All right. All right, I got it here. It's going to go in the show. I have to, this is like, if I don't write that down, I'll forget it. There you go. You're back home. Excellent. People keep getting deleted. What's up, Eric? I don't know why Zalthon's being a tyrant tonight. Maybe Zalthon wanted the weekend off, and he's mad that he has to work on a Friday night. Well, too bad, Zalthon. Let's see. What else? Oh! There was new UFO stuff on the news today. They released a radar reading that shows them. Nothing too fancy. I'm wondering if they're going to give a nice dump of info, or they're going to do what they normally do and just throw a couple kernels out. I would think it's just going to be a couple kernels. Because I really do think it would cause mass panic. It might not start off like immediately. Like if the president gets on TV and is like, folks, aliens are real. We know who they are. They're our friends, or they're our enemies, or aliens are real and we don't understand them. I do think people would not bug out immediately, but it slowly would cause some things to happen that might not be good. Oh, you said a bad word? Yeah, I really want my... See where it says Streamlabs? Please refrain. I tried to change it to say Zalthon. It is impossible. It will only let you change it for Twitch, not YouTube. Zalthon needs some Xanax. Zalthon needs a fembot. Yeah, maybe I'll make him a fembot to keep him busy. I know, Fallon. I'm waiting. I'm a nerd, a UFO nerd. I'm waiting. I can't wait. If you told us all... Oh, you did get your opulent shirt. Yeah. And anybody that's got a mystery box coming, please be patient. I'm going to be honest. I take the mystery boxes a little too serious. I could throw a bunch of junk in, but I'm trying to make them... If I got it, I would think it's kind of neat and fun. So, just be patient. I'm making 4 right now. They're right here. I keep filling more things in them. If you're new to the channel, hit the subscribe button. Hit the like button, and please hit the notify. I'm trying to get to 1,000. It's not easy, I'm going to be honest. But, well, not that one. Hold on. There we go. If you donate to the show, by golly, thank you. I get them. They go right in the show. I'm doing this full time, so I'm flattered whenever I get them. Thank you. And if you can't donate, that's cool. And if you don't want to donate, that's cool too. Yeah. So, donations are cool, but the best you can do is hit the subscribe button. That's what I'm looking for. What else before I jump into this subject? Oh, if you're new and you're watching the show and you're like, what the heck is going on in the chat? There's in-chat gaming. So what you do is you go to the show description and you look in there and it says, oh yeah, cool. Yeah, Cassandra, just be patient. Yeah, there's in-chat gaming. The instructions are in the description. Or you can just watch and see how people write exclamation point and then the word points right beside it. And you'll see how many points you have acquired through chatting and participating, and then you can gamble them away or win prizes. Let's see here before we get into the subject, because, oh, I know what I'm going to do. So, in a couple seconds here, to get into the room and win this shirt, and I do believe I have it in all sizes. I have some leftovers from the old days. You write in the chat. Let me think here. You know what? I'm gonna stick to 616. 616. If you write that right now in the chat, and then stick around for the end, I'm gonna have a drawing, and if you win, you get a shirt mailed to you and probably some stickers. So, yeah, 616. And I'm going to have to be writing stuff down. Let's see. Ah, Fallon, thank you. That means a lot to me. Thank you so much, Fallon. Thank you, really. There we go. Peter. Peter, you're going in as number 1 today. There we go. All right, so listen. While I'm writing these down, anybody ever been to Taiwan? Anybody? Anybody even know where it is? Ooh, here we go. A new person in here. Giuseppe Santa Sauce. I love the name. Giuseppe Fallon. Santa Sauce. That's a cool name. I like the name Giuseppe. I think I have some relatives with that name. I have some relatives that have some crazy Italian names. We have like a Yolanda and I was there in the... Oh, you were in the airport in Taipei. Where were you going, Peter? Where were you headed? Please tell me. Oh, you were going to Philippines. It's funny, when I was in Taiwan, I could see the Philippines. from Kenting. I could see a little line, and I was like, oh, I see land. And they were like, yeah, that's Philippines. Well, all right, 616 is the number to get you in on the t-shirt, and I'll give a quick announcement at the end. But other than that, yeah, Philippines I haven't been to. I would love to go. I love the food. I like the language. They're cool. All right, I'm going to jump into this subject. Let's do it. All right, folks. Taiwan Rules. I'm proclaiming it. It's one of my favorite countries. When somebody asks me about where I've traveled, where I've been, I always tell them my favorite country for friendly people, good food, good vibes, lots of just wonderful things. Taiwan. Hold on, my mustache is wild today. I've heard Philippines is beautiful. Yeah, Taiwan's beautiful too. That area it's beautiful, but it's hot as hell. So tonight, I thought I would first give you a brief history of Taiwan, because I'm going to be honest. The history of Taiwan's kind of wild. I knew this history. I didn't know some of the details, but I knew basically most of it. So I'm going to give you a little history of Taiwan. Then I'm going to tell you how I ended up there for 3 months. And then I'm going to tell you how I feel about certain things going on about Taiwan, which I voiced the other day. If you watched the show, you heard me go on a little bit of a rant. So Taiwan is, if you're looking at a map, it is below Japan, above the Philippines, and a little to the right of China. And it's an island. Look it up. When I was a little kid, I remember when I would buy toys, they didn't say made in China. They usually said made in Taiwan or made in Hong Kong. If you go back a little farther, everything said made in Japan. So it's like the cheaper place to make things moved around a bit. So it was like Japan, then I don't know if Hong Kong or Taiwan was next. And now it's obviously China. So Taiwan is its own country. I'll say it very clearly, and we'll explain why in a little bit. But originally, it was filled with some Aboriginal peoples. And supposedly, they had a pretty good setup. They were running it well. Like, they had resources, and they were thriving and surviving. And I met some of the native people when I was in Taiwan, and I will say they were pretty awesome. In 1542, Portugal showed up. And they called the place Ilha Formosa. And Formosa became the name of Taiwan for many years. It means beautiful island. In 1620, the Dutch came. And the Dutch East Indian Company set up in the south of Taiwan. And then the Spanish came, and they went to the north. I don't really know what happened to Portugal. I think they might have left already. But now you got the Dutch in the south and the Spanish in the north. And, you know, the Aboriginal people are there. The Dutch and the Spanish started to convince Chinese people from the neighboring country, which is just right across the pond there, to start coming over to Taiwan. There was work. Now, why do you think they did that? Because it was cheap labor. Sound familiar? Huh. Anywho, they brought them over, and the Dutch eventually kicked the Spanish out, and they kind of took the whole place over. And they ran it for a little while, and then eventually, Koxinga, I don't know if I'm pronouncing that right. He was one of the Chinese loyalists from the Qin Dynasty. He actually came over and fought the Dutch, and it would appear that he ousted them. I think they kind of won. And then they were in charge. And then in 1693, that Chinese kingdom guy, Koxinga, he was taken over by another Chinese guy who was in charge. Okay? And in 1895, the Qin Dynasty, which was who the second guy was running with, they ceded the island to the Japanese. And the reason why they did that is they were unequal. I mean, China was weak at this time, and they kind of had to. I think the Japanese were putting pressure on them and getting ready to do a pounce. And they're like, you know what? We're going to let you run the show. And that's why a lot of older people in Taiwan, when I was there, they could speak a little Japanese. So they had the country until World War II. But before it was over, the war, when the Japanese were there, there was an Aboriginal uprising. And they lost, unfortunately. I think they were wiped out pretty bad. In 1945, Japan lost the war. I think we forced them to kind of get rid of some territories. They gave it to China. Now, here's where it gets nuts. Before World War II, China was in a civil war. The Mao Zedong communists won. Chiang Kai-shek, who was a general, he was the Civil War opposition. They lost the war, and they went to Taiwan. So they were a new group of Chinese people coming over. So you had old school Chinese there that came, in the 1800s, and then you have a new group of Chinese showing up, and that's Chiang Kai-shek. And he was a dictator. And Chiang Kai-shek ruled, he ruled the country as a dictator. And then in 1975, Chiang Kai-shek died, and it slowly started to shift. In the 80s, okay, so then it became a democracy. And I thought about this. I was like, wow, it went from a dictator to a democracy. It seems like kind of a smooth transition. Well, I think Chiang Kai-shek was kind of cool. This is my personal thoughts. But he was coming from a bad system. He was raised in that system. He was that system. It was a very military dictator system. And I don't think he knew any better. So, but I think he had good intentions. So when he croaked, I think those good intentions were there. People, it's the 70s and 80s. My God. They could see the rest of the world and go, you know what? I think we should maybe go this route. And in the 80s, it became an economic little bit of a gem. And, by 1987, no more martial law. The dictator martial law thing was out, and they were a democracy. So that's Taiwan. Wow, what a wild history. I mean, they were like, so now, why do I say Taiwan rules? Before I get to my trip there, why I had such a good experience, I mean, just think of the multicultural background that country went through and all the weird little influences coming in. You've got the Japanese influence, the Chinese influence, you've got the European influence. 3 different European countries were there. And then you have the native population, all kind of... It's kind of cool. It's kind of like a hub in Asia for lots of cool things going on. So, that's my brief history of Taiwan. Where did I put my thing? Okay. So, all right, let me get to this. Where? Oh, God. Did I lose my list again? I swear to God, every time I do this, I misplace 1, not 2, not 3, 1 paper. Here we go. Let me just see. No. Yeah, here it is. I knew it. This is the important list. These are stories I need to tell you about Taiwan that happened to me. I had to write them down. There's so many. I don't know if I'll get to do them all, but and I thought it was 93. Turns out it was 94. I thought I was 19. Turns out I was 20. I didn't remember it correct. I was like, wait a second. And the reason why I know when it was is when I was in Taiwan, it's when O.J. Simpson went on the run. I remember watching it on TV, on the news, in the place I was staying, the hostel. So let's get to the story. So I was in college, and me and one of my really good buddies, I don't know if you're watching, Tom Lee, he's a very famous puppeteer, and I'm going to try to get him to do an interview here. He, in the puppet world, is a heavy hitter. He's played, I'll just give you a couple famous puppets he's been. In the Metropolitan Opera, he's the right arm of the child in M. Butterfly. And that is a major part in the show. It is literally the part of the show that it causes gasps. And then he was the back end and tail of the horse in War Horse. So if you look up War Horse live and you see this puppet horse riding with someone on it, my buddy, this guy I'm going to talk about, he's the ass of the horse. He's a famous puppeteer. So me and him were best buddies in college, and we liked a lot of the same things, and both of us didn't like mainstream theater in any way, shape, or form. We both liked variety arts and all the other stuff. And I remember me and him used to hang out on campus, and we used to see this Chinese lady doing Tai Chi in the park. And she would be usually giving a lesson. And one day, me and my buddy Tom Lee approached her and said, are you giving lessons? And she said, yes. Her name was Li Wenxin, or Wenxin was her first name. Li was her last name. Li Wenxin. And she gave us lessons. And we basically, it was like, look, if we both do it together as a duo, it was way cheaper. And it went well. We were both pretty good at it right away because of our theater training. And I loved Tai Chi. I liked the meditative aspect, the strength, the idea of moving so slow and smooth without it being choppy. Not easy. And while we were always learning, would be my sophomore year, she kept telling us, you should come to my country and learn from my teacher. And you can make money teaching English and working, and you can take Kung Fu and Tai Chi classes in the park every day. Oh, I'm going to write down one thing that I forgot to mention. So I considered it. And I mentioned it to my parents, and my father was like, no way. I mean, I was pretty young, and I'd never been anywhere. I traveled around in the East Coast with my family. I'd never been out of the country, ever. I didn't even go to Canada or Mexico. I hadn't been on a cruise, nothing. So my mom was definitely, Mama, you're watching. She was supportive. And then eventually my dad, he was like, okay, cool. And I was like, look, I'm going to make money over here. I think I can do well. And I got the plane ticket. Now, this is pre-internet. So it was I can't even believe I traveled like this back then, but I didn't know what the heck I was doing. I didn't know where I was going. So my buddy, Tom, he went over first. And he's like, look, I'm going to go over and I'm going to go to this hostel and you meet me at the hostel. That was it. I didn't know anything else. I had the address and the phone number of the hostel. I didn't have any other info. So it was like, all right, I'm going to fly to Taipei, figure out how to get to downtown Taipei, figure out how to get to the hostel, and I hope to God my buddy's there. Because it's like, oh, and I had my Tai Chi teacher's phone number. What else did I have? I think that's it. Oh. Yan 1. Cheers. Okay. So I am a little nervous. I fly to Taiwan, and I get to the airport, and I immediately notice people are very friendly and very helpful. I don't remember how I got to Taipei. I think I took a bus or a train to a bus. Can't remember. But I do remember getting to the area where the hostel was. And I can still see it in my imagination. And I do have some photos tonight I am going to show you. Here's... Now, mind you, back then we didn't take a lot of pictures. But it was in this general vicinity. It was near Mai Tong Lao, McDonald's, and Lai Lai Sheraton, which is the big fancy Sheraton. And it was a hostel. And I still remember going up a little elevator, and the door opened, and I'm in this hostel. There's people from all over the place. It wasn't a big hostel. And I'm like, anybody see Tom Lee? Is my buddy Tom Lee around? And they were like, maybe, I don't know. Eventually, someone was like, oh yeah, that guy, he's around. So I was like, okay, cool. I'm in the right spot. My buddy's here. So I dropped my bag off. My buddy wasn't there yet, and I needed to eat something. So my first adventure in a foreign country was going to a 7-Eleven. And I remember walking down the street just like pure joy. Like I'd never been anywhere, and I was like, everything's different. I walk in the 7-Eleven, everything's different. You know, instead of hot dogs, they have the bean buns. And it's like the Japanese kind of 7-Eleven style. And I'm like, wow, I love this. And I like weird food, so I was in all glory. Oh, yes, it did, Amanda. She wrote, pre-internet world had a certain sort of excitement. Yeah, because it was a mystery. I didn't know what anything looked like, you know? You couldn't Google it and look at it. So I went there. I went back to the hostel, and my buddy was there. And he had been there for like a week or so, and he's like, dude, I already have a job. And I was like, whoa, you got a job already? Now, my passport was stamped. You're not allowed to work. And I'm asking around, and everyone's like, no one cares. Really? I don't really want to end up in a Taiwanese jail. I'm like, no, don't worry. So I found a couple places I could immediately go get a job at. We hadn't signed up for the Tai Chi stuff yet, or got in touch with my Tai Chi teacher, or any of that stuff. And I found where to go. And they were like, okay, when you go in, tell them you have your master's in English. And I'm like, really? Like, yeah. You'll get the job like that. And I'm like, but I don't have a master's in English. I don't know. I'm a theater guy, and I do magic tricks. And they were like, no, it doesn't matter. They're going to tell the clients at the English school that you have your doctorate in English. They're going to lie too. I was like, what? They're like, yeah, don't worry. Okay. So I remember going to... My CD player's making noise. I remember going to this school. I can still see the office, and there was a board, and they hired me like that to teach a class of kids. I think it was 3 days a week. And they also gave me adult students to do tutoring with. And I'm not an English major, and I have horrible grammar. So, and like that, I had a job. And then we got in touch with my Tai Chi teacher. She didn't give us any lessons. We went to her teacher, and I got some wild stories. Let me just make sure here. Oh, yeah, the first thing I learned how to say in Chinese, because I had to learn. I was going to be there for a while. I was like, I got to learn a little bit here. Back then, I was smoking like a chimney. And the cigarettes in Taiwan were called, the brand was called Long Life. So I learned how to go out, and the first thing I learned was to say, excuse me, 对不起, do you have a lighter? 你有打火机吗? So that's what I did. I went out, and I remember the first night I went out alone. I had a pack of cigarettes, and I would just go up to people and ask them, oh, 对不起, 你有打火机吗? And they would be like, and like light my cigarette. I immediately realized that the Taiwanese people were abnormally friendly. I'm not kidding. As soon as they saw I was visiting for the first time, they were like, oh, wow. And I remember like being lost and someone taking me there and buying me lunch. I mean, it was just they're the nicest people. I don't know what to say other than really, I was shocked at how friendly and nice. Oh, some neat cultural things. Men hold hands there. So when I first got there, I'm like, why are all these guys walking around holding hands? That's how they are. They hold hands. If you're with your buddy, you kind of walk around holding hands. I don't know if they still do that. What's up, Dan P? So here I am. I got a job. I start to make friends. I'm making friends with the people in the hostel. I'm making friends. There was one girl at the hostel. Her name was Candice Chen. She was from Taiwan, but she liked hanging out with all the foreign travelers. So she lived in the hostel, which was kind of awesome because she was the liaison to Taiwan. If I had any questions about Taiwan, I'd ask Candice. I ended up hanging out with her a lot in New York City after the fact. She came to stay with me and my friends. I've heard that, Peter. I've heard that they are friendly. Yeah, similar. Now, right before I went to Taiwan, I shaved my head. Not right before, but I knew it was going to be hot as hell, and I was like, look, I'm going to shave. I'll show you. Here's a picture of me in one of the museums. Here, I'll hold it up like this. Hold on. Let me hold it up to the other camera. This is what I'm going to do, a close-up. And I'm wearing a Jake the Snake shirt, which I still have. Any Jake the Snake fans. This was in the National Museum. And I don't have a lot of pictures here. I only have a few. So here we are, me and my buddy. We are going to these Tai Chi Kung Fu workshops. I have a job. My free time, and I don't drink, so I'm not like a bar fly. My free time was going to pinball places and arcades and to see live music. And me and my buddy, we kind of had separate lives. He had a group of friends and a job, and I did too. And I would get up and take the bus and go to work, and he did. And then we would hang out, of course. But we kind of just did our own thing. And in the middle of the trip, we did do a tour of we went off a bit, which I'll talk about. Baby Cardone, yeah. One of the areas there that's famous is called Snake Alley. It's a tourist spot, but they do some of the weird Chinese herbal stuff. And one of the things they had was they did like, do you know what a pitch man is? You know the guy that has the ShamWow and he does a show? Well, and then you buy the ShamWow after the little show that he does with it, or the knives. Well, they had the same thing, except with a live snake. And while the snake is alive, they cut its heart out and throw its beating heart on a table. And its heart beats for a long time with out of the heart, out of the snake. And then they cut it and they squeeze the bile into a shot glass, mix a bunch of grain alcohol, and sell it as an aphrodisiac. I didn't have it because I don't drink, and I thought it was disgusting. And I'm brave with that stuff, and I was like, I'm not doing that. I had a buddy who tried it. I met there, and I remember he got the Skittles, as we'll say, afterwards. I don't know if you guys ever called it the Skittles. Wow, what is that game you're playing? I love it. Oh, he did slots. I love it. Yeah, Damien the Python. I remember. I still have that shirt. So, Snake Alley was something fun. I saw a monkey on a leash in a shopping mall. I also saw a monkey smoking cigarettes for tips. If you gave them tips, he'd light up and smoke. I have some wild stories I'm gonna tell you. Hold on, I don't want to miss these. I'm gonna talk about that. Oh yeah, one of the things that I did was I got into betel nut, or binang. Binang is a nut that all the cab drivers would chew, like chewing tobacco, that's highly addictive. They told me it makes you warm. And I'm like, it's 100 degrees out. Now, when I say it's 100 degrees out, it is so damn hot you have no idea. You wear a shirt in an air-conditioned building. When you walk outside, you're soaking wet. It's like Florida on steroids. Southeast Asia. The Skittles is dirty. Yes, Skittles is... You know when you eat bad stuff? The Rhea, as it's also called. So here's a wild story I'm going to tell. I hope my buddy doesn't mind this because it's kind of crazy. One of the hangouts in Taiwan, which I thought was cool, was McDonald's. My Dang Lao. And my Dang Lao was where all the college kids would hang out. And it was a pretty big McDonald's in Taipei. Lai Lai Sheridan, Fujian. It was near the Lai Lai Sheridan, not far from where I was. And I would walk there. You know, we'd walk up to McDonald's and hang out. And I remember the manager of McDonald's was really friendly to us. And he said to my buddy that he wanted to hang out with him. Okay. He didn't say he wanted to hang out with us. He wanted to hang out with him. And I was like, all right, the guy's gay, clearly, and he wants to hang out with you. And my buddy's like, nah, he just wants to practice English. And I'm like, okay. I mean, he's kind of asking you out on a date. He's like, no. And I'm like, all right, whatever. Fast forward, I don't know, a week or two later, eventually, we all went out as a group, and the McDonald's manager came out with us. And I remember it clearly. We went to a place called Farmhouse. It'd be hilarious if it's still there. And it was a bar with a band, and one of the best cover bands I'd ever seen. You wrote down your request, put it in a fishbowl, and they would pull them out. They had music books, so they'd have to look up sometimes, and then they would play your cover song. And they would do a Whitney Houston song and go right into a Black Sabbath song. Not kidding. So we went there, we went out, we went to a bar. We were bar hopping in Taiwan. And the guy, the McDonald's manager, kept saying to my friend, when you me hang out? Like, he was like, when are we going to go out together, just you and me? And I said to my buddy, dude, the guy wants you. I mean, he's being completely open about it. And my buddy's like, nah, I think he just wants to practice English and he's just being friendly. You know, he's one of those guys. He's just super friendly. Well, I don't know. I was like, whatever. So eventually, that night ended, and I don't know how many days later, if it was a week later, I don't remember that. But eventually, my buddy went out with this guy on a dinner. And I remember I went to bed early that night at the hostel because we had to get up early and go to some sort of Kung Fu Tai Chi seminar. And I'm going to talk about those in a second because they were intense. And he went out, I went to bed, and in Taiwan, in the morning, in the hostel, they turned the AC off kind of early, and as soon as that AC was off, I woke up, because it went from, tolerable to soaking wet sweating. And I remember waking up to go to this thing, and my buddy's passed out in his bed. I'm like, yo, we gotta go, let's go. We gotta shower and go, and he's like, oh, yeah, and he looked way hungover. And as we're hanging out, getting up, he starts to panic. And he's like, oh my God, what happened last night? Like something happened. And I'm like, I don't know, what happened? So what? And he goes, well, and then he remembered. He said they went out to eat, they had dinner, and the guy, the manager, said to my buddy, you didn't wash your hands. So my buddy's like, okay, that's weird that you're pointing that out. And, oh, you got a mystery box, William? Great. Okay, cool. I love it. I know you had the points, too. That's cool. So, is it humid? It is so humid, it's unbelievable. It's like unbelievable. So he starts to remember his evening. He's like, he went to wash his hands. He came back. They had dinner, and by the end of the dinner, he felt like he was drugged, and he realized he was drugged. So he said to the manager, "Take me back." And the guy was like, "No, let's go to my place." And he's like, "No, I want to go home to the hostel right now." And he's like, "No." So they argued. Oh yeah, he got roofied. So they got on his little moped, and he was fighting with the guy. And my buddy Tom Lee ain't no wimp. I mean, he'll fight. And he's totally strong. And he was just like, take me home. He took him home. Dropped him off. Tom Lee went to bed. And now it's the next morning and he's remembering it. So as we're telling the story, our friend from Taiwan who lived in the hostel, Candace, she finds out, right? So I remember, I don't know if it was that next day. Like, so that day we had to go do some Kung Fu seminar. I'll tell you about those. So, yes, he slipped him a Mickey. The McDonald's manager did. But wait till you hear what happened. So, this is like a movie. So, Candace, our buddy, I don't know what her Chinese name was. My Chinese name was Kang Yadang. So, she was like, we're going to McDonald's right now. What? So a whole little group of us went over to McDonald's. As soon as we walked in, he started to yell at us because he knew what was about to happen. He literally started going, "Ganenya, ganenya beitong," which is the F off. And Candace basically called him out in front of all of McDonald's and told everybody, including the customers, what happened. And then we left. It's like a scene out of a movie. It was awesome. So that guy definitely, I'm sure he got fired or worse. And he deserves it. Bye. So the irony is the most friendly country in the world still has, as I always say, there's always an asshole principle. And there was one right there. So let me talk about this Tai Chi Kung Fu stuff. Yeah, it's common. It's common. So my teacher, Li Wenxin, her teacher, Jun Laoshi. I remember his name was Jun Laoshi, and I still remember his face. I don't have any pictures of him, but I have a picture of somebody else that worked with us. He was like a Tai Chi Kung Fu master. I think he started off as a Wing Chun master, praying mantis style. He was a master of, and then he got into Tai Chi. And I saw him do some things that were a little bit inhuman. Now, I know some of the Qigong things are magic tricks. This is what I thought was cool. Does anybody know what push hands is? Push hands is where you stand with your wrists touching another Tai Chi practitioner, and it looks like they're just touching wrists and doing this thing, and then he'll knock the guy over. And what they teach you is when you get pushed, you're able to absorb. If you're really relaxed, you absorb the energy. There's the old Kung Fu story of the pigeon on the Kung Fu master's hand, and the pigeon can't fly away. The reason why is when the pigeon flies away, he has to push his legs, and the guy's so relaxed that the thing can't push its legs. I don't know if it's true. Well, Jun Laoshi, our teacher, he used to let people punch him. Now, when you punch somebody, they tighten. This guy didn't tighten. He relaxed. So when you punched him, it was like, you could feel his guts. It was like, it was like the weirdest thing ever. And he was able to just be so relaxed that he could absorb stuff. It was wild. So we would do, you guys know horse position? You know, when you bend your legs? We would do that in our Kung Fu classes and Tai Chi classes until we fell over. I mean, really, we would do it all day until you fell over. I remember one time we were we would do it outside a lot, but one time we went into a room that was like 120 degrees. I was dying, and the teacher wasn't sweating at all. And I remember him seeing me like, and he would go like this. And he meant it's all here. You can fix it here. He was kind of an amazing guy. So we were doing these hardcore Tai Chi workshops, and I loved it. And one day, and mostly it was free. We would just make donations. So one day he asked us to come help him at the Buddhist temple. This is straight up Karate Kid stuff. You got to help the teacher paint the fence, wax the car. We were going to do it. So me, Tom Lee, and 8 other guys and gals, it was like about 8 of us. We went to a Buddhist temple up somewhere in the mountains. They gave us each one of those Chinese hats and a little sickle. And we were going to cut the grass manually. And it was, hot as hell out. And I remember me and my buddy like, oh my God, this is crazy. And it took all day to cut this hill. So it's like the end of the day. It's like 3-4 o'clock, and we just finished this hill. And I remember them going like, "Oh yeah, great." And they brought us watermelon with salt on it as like a Gatorade. And when we got to the top of the hill at the end of the day, I realized it was only like a quarter of the job. There was a whole mountainside we had to cut. And I was like, "Oh my God, I'm going to die." It was amazing though, because you start to hallucinate when you're that tired. I mean, I was tripping out. So then at the end of it all, we're done. We get to eat, and I am dying. So we go to this other area, and they give this little bowl of rice. And I remember eating every grain of it. I mean, like I was just eating. Yeah, exactly. It's an anti-dehydration. And I ate every little, I mean, I was hungry. And then we had to do the Buddhist mantras. I actually like doing those. You trip out after a while. If you do the, in Japanese it's Namu Ami Dabu. In Chinese it was a little different. It was like hum hum hum. I don't remember it actually. I know the Japanese version. And then we had to sit and listen to the Buddhist monk lecture in Chinese. I can't understand a word he's saying. Everybody's listening. My buddy Tom Lee is listening, and I have the nods. And I'm like, and I am having the hardest time staying awake. Not easy. But I will say it was an amazing experience. I had something else to say about that. Oh, yeah. So we were learning, a lot of people don't realize that the Tai Chi stuff, it's a real martial art. It's not just dance moves. They're real. Whenever you see somebody, and I'm going to do it seated, whenever you see somebody doing this, right? What people don't realize is what that is. You've always seen old people in the park doing it. What you're seeing is it's a martial art. This is a block and an arm catch and an arm break. And you use your waist for the it's like boxing with your waist. So I really did learn how to use my midsection for the power. So like for instance, at slow water-like speed, it's this. But in a combative speed, it's like that. It's kung fu. It's your waist. The power is this. It's not, your arm. It's everything, and it's your legs. It's an amazing thing to study. I don't do it anymore, and I don't really have any regrets in my life. I'm one of those guys, but I wish I kept up a little bit of the Tai Chi, and occasionally I do some of the moves. The full katas, I don't remember them all. I used to have memorized like probably like 8 really hard katas. I knew one simple form, a difficult form, fan kata, the Chinese kung fu fan. I learned the whole. I might even have one. Yeah, these ones don't work anymore. This is one of them. This one's, I think, broken. I had a steel fan. I used to have a steel fan that was a weapon, but yeah, I learned all these weird kung fu forms. This one here, which looks like this. Here, I'm wearing clogs. One of the forms I remember was this, which is cool. So anyway, we learned how to actually whack people with fans, which is hilarious. Wow, okay. Yeah, Tai Chi's not easy, and it's all like knees and legs, and it's a neat art form, folks. And it was a life-changing experience. It was the first time I had been out of the country. And here I am in a beautiful country, just absorbing the language and the culture and the food and the wonderful people, the martial arts. I got to see it free, Chinese opera in the park. And I really, it was life-changing. It woke me up. It was the first time I had been anywhere. I was by myself, traveling, and it really just opened my mind to a whole new world in front of me. It was one of the greatest things I could have done at that age. And I'm proud that I was able to pull it off. And I was sad when I had to leave. And I wanted to go back. It was one of those, like, I'm going to come back here. And this is before the earthquake and the subway. They have a really nice subway, but then they had a really bad earthquake. I don't know what year. Anybody know what year the earthquake happened? But it was bad. It kind of really ruined a lot of stuff. Yeah, and OJ was on the news while I was there. I remember in the hostel, someone going, "Hey, look at the news." And I was like, OJ's on the run? What? So then me and my buddy went traveling, and we went all the way down. We drove, actually, which is not easy there. They told us don't use the mirrors. It's bad luck. Don't use a seatbelt, and don't use mirrors. If you look forward, there will be no accidents. Me and my friend were like, okay. While I was there, I gotta say, I saw a lot of dogs run over by scooters and cars. There were wild dogs and cats everywhere. So I saw a lot of animals getting hit by cars. I saw a lot of, like, a scooter with like 10 people on it, you know? And there's just crazy traffic. And so we went south to Tainan, which is a really neat city with a lot of really crazy temples. And let me see here. Here is one of the... So this is a Taoist temple, which was not very Taoist in my opinion. It was actually very, like, witchcrafty. The religion of Taoism is not the same as the philosophy. Here's me and Tom Lee, the famous puppeteer guy. This is us in the museum at one of those photo op places. Here's one of the kung fu teacher guys. That's not Juan Lao Shi. That was his buddy, and I don't remember his name. Here's this little kid that we met that was amazing. This guy was... And then we met a friend of a friend of a friend who lived on a tobacco farm. And we went and stayed at the tobacco farm with these random Chinese guys that we did not know, and they treated us like their friends. I remember we were in a hotel, smoking cigarettes all night, playing mahjong. We went to the beach, and that was at the beach town we went to. But when we stayed at the farm, they let us sleep in this barn. And I don't know if my buddy slept there. I remember I slept there. He might have slept somewhere else. But the barn, no AC. I'm not kidding you. It was like 120 degrees. It was so hot I couldn't breathe. And I remember laying down, and I realized something. I could control my temperature. I figured out when it's really hot out, if you don't move, you're not hot anymore. Try it in a sauna. Did you ever go to a dry sauna that's like 200 degrees? If you lay down and you breathe, you're not hot anymore. But if you move your arm, you feel hot. It's kind of a neat trick. It was an adventure. Then we went on another... We were poor. I mean, I had just enough money to get by. I had enough to pay the kung fu and the hostel, and, you know, it was tight. So we went to this other place called Ali Shan. It's a tourist area, and instead of staying in a hotel, it was 94, the summer of 94. We stayed in a tent. We bought a cheap tent, and we went in the jungle, and we couldn't get a fire started. It took us all day to get a fire started because everything's damp, and you are above the clouds. And I'll show you a picture I took. You're above the clouds at certain points in the mountain, and it looks like water. It looks like the ocean. So it's one of the coolest things ever. It looks like a body of water, but it's not. It's just the cloud cover below you. So cool. Yeah, Ali Shan. Beautiful jungle mountain. Like, so cool. And when I came back, I was sad. I was addicted to bilang, the betel nut, like chewing tobacco. So when I got in the plane, I was like, okay, I'm going to quit this stuff because you can't get it in the USA. And the thing I knew I was going to miss was bubble tea. They invented bubble tea. And it took another about 10 years to start seeing it here. When I started seeing it, I was like, hey, bubble tea. Genju Nai Cha is what they called it. Taiwanese invention. Yeah, it was hot as hell there. So let's talk about Taiwan. Well, the other day in the news, I see that John Cena has episode 9 of the Fast and Furious movies coming out. And John Cena speaks Chinese. Why? Because he's over there making money. Oh, yeah. And his new movie, Fast and Furious 9, is going to be released, and the first viewing is going to be in Taiwan. So he said, hey, you guys, the country of Taiwan gets the first view. And then, I don't know what happened, but then he made an apology to his Chinese fans. He didn't actually say, I called Taiwan a country. All he did was say, I made a mistake, and I'm very sorry. I shouldn't have said it that way. He didn't say what it was. Now, the people in China were mad that he didn't say Taiwan directly, and the people in Taiwan were like, yo, we're a country. What are you, nuts? Now, I don't know if anybody here realizes it, but we don't really recognize them either publicly as a country. It really upset me when I saw this. I was like, wait, why is he doing that? Because he doesn't want to lose his Chinese fans and his contract? He's going to lose his contract with the movie company? Maybe. But he's rich already. Why does he care? This is where it gets stupid, folks. I mean, to me, by doing that, you're just reinforcing that China's doing a good job. They're great. China's awesome. I'm going to follow the rules. Not cool. Human rights violations. We do business with them. The virus that we're not allowed to talk about, its origins. I mean, they're starting to now because it's not being used for anything political. But really, it's kind of weird. I mean, really, it's just like, it's shocking. And look, do the public in China care about Taiwan? I don't know. Does anybody know? Anybody? I don't know. Yeah, why do we buy the stuff that China... We're really willing to... What is it? High price for a low cost. You know, what's the high price we're paying for a low cost of goods? What's the end? China's running around doing deals with countries, and then when they can't fess up, they get land ownership. Right now, China's involved in the Nicaragua canal. I haven't looked up the progress of that, but it looks kind of like a dirty deal. They've got oil drilling rights in Nicaragua, and they're bringing in Chinese workers, I heard. I don't know the details. Don't quote me on this, but I'm going to look it up again. They're all over the world now. They're a communist country. Communism's bad, bad, bad. Anybody that tries to justify it to me is like, folks, stop. Hold on a second. Communism works in tiny groups. Me and my friends, we're kind of communistic. We share lots of little things. I think tribal society little tribes can be communistic. But as soon as there's 1,000 people or 1,000,000 people or 1,000,000,000 people, it gets a little weird. Yeah, it's definitely weird. And watching this actor guy groveling for apology, oh God, it's so sickening to me. It's like this cool wrestler guy who represents strength and power literally just showed me the weakest human being I could ever possibly think about. Listen, Taiwan's a country. They have their own passport, their own languages. They have like 8 languages in the country. They're a real democracy, maybe even more than we are. I mean, we're not really a democracy. We're a republic. China tells its citizens that Taiwan wants to come back. Really? Do they? They say that, it's the politicians that don't want to. They have their own money. Now listen to this fact. 146 countries accept Taiwan's passport for no visa needed entry. And only 71 accept China's. They are a country. They have their own military. Men are required to serve the military. They have an open free press. China does not. They censor everything. It's shocking. It's really shocking. And I just don't know what to say. What did I put here? If you say China mad, oh yeah. Yeah. It's to me one of the saddest states of. I saw the NBA had a similar thing. One of the NBA players had to make an apology to China. Since when do we have to apologize? There's the you can't boycott Israeli goods. It's become such a global world now that you can't say anything bad about the country that does bad things. You can't say anything bad. You can't criticize. To me, criticizing isn't bad. You're just pointing out things that aren't working. It doesn't necessarily mean it's bad. It's just, hey, that's not cool. Hey, all you people protesting racial problems, do you know that there's child labor? And do you know the sneakers you're wearing were made by child labor? And oh, it's an American-made product? I'll bet all the parts weren't. Folks, it's infuriating. Yeah, we're trying to fix the world with pollutants and all this stuff, and yeah, it's not happening. Yeah, look, I did an episode on squishies and how toxic they are. You know, squishies? Why are they toxic? They're not regulated. So what do I mean? What do we learn from this? What I learned is to be vocal about this stuff. Tell people. A lot of people like, who cares? No, it's not who cares. Keep going, and it's going to get really bad. You're not going to be able to, I'm not going to be allowed to do what I'm doing right now. If YouTube is making billions of dollars a year in China, which they have their own version of YouTube, then I won't be able to say what I'm saying. I won't even be able to discuss it. I don't want to live in a world where I can't discuss anything. I don't like now how we're censored here by corporate companies. Our main means of communication is the internet, and all the corporations are running it now. It's not free speech anymore. The only free speech I have is on my front porch with a megaphone. And if I make a crappy newspaper and try to sell it. So things changed. And I don't know where it goes, but I hope that the Chinese people in China start to pay attention and see how bad it is. And I don't know, maybe they don't care. My son thinks that we're evolving to accept communism. That's what my son said. I was like, wow. I get his point. He means that the rugged individualistic types that founded America, that were the people that moved here, you know, my ancestors were like, yo, I know it's going to be tough, but I'm going to move to America. You know, I'm coming from a poor country. I'm going to move here and work hard. That rugged individualism is a certain characteristic. It's partly taught, partly I think it's a chemical thing too. I think certain people are more like that. And they're the ones that moved here. And they're the ones that had kids here. And then their kids had kids with the other people that moved here's kids. Well, I think what's happening is over time, that rugged individualistic type is not as much here. And chemically, the people that are a little more maybe, I don't want to say the word sheepish, but accepting to listen to might be the ones that are able to live easier. And maybe we are evolving to a group that accepts communism and doesn't question. And I don't know. I don't like it. I will hopefully be gone by the time that takes effect, if it does. But I just want people to realize that whenever you see celebrities that are multi-millionaires, that have a lot of power, groveling to a Chinese dictatorship so they can sell a crappy movie, boo. And on that note, I'm going to go celebrate my weekend. And I'm going to give one more shout out to the person that's going to win the prize. If you write 616 in here right now, I'll let you jump in. You got to write 616 for the drawing of this t-shirt. And I think I have every size. It's a New York Variety All-Stars shirt, which is my old variety group. And let me see here. Where's my black pen? 616 will get you in the chat. Who else wants to join in? This is your last call. If anybody's watching the show, yes, I take donations. If you don't donate, that's cool. That's fine. I get it. Yeah, I don't donate to all these things either. But if you really want to help me, hit the like, the subscribe, and the notify. Sounds silly, but it really does mean a lot. Right now, there's 743 subscribers. I would love for it to get to 750 by the end of the weekend. It will happen. It might take a few days. Here we go. Helen, you're in the group. Oh, you're already in here, Helen. You already did it. If you already did it, you don't have to. All right. Fallon. Oh, yeah, here we go. Fallon, you're already in here, too. 616. Just write it in the chat. Ooh. Where did I put? If you only saw how much papers I have here. Oh, here we go. Let me put William down, too. William, you got a mystery box, I see. William. Oh, yeah. Here, let me put you here. William. What's Nemeth? Your last name, Nemeth. What is that? That's a cool name. Nemeth. Sounds a little bit like a Star Trek villain. I like it. That's a cool first name. Nemeth. Where's it from? What's the origin of that one? That's a neat name. Let's see. All right, here we go. Amanda, you're already in here. All right, I'm going to draw this thing soon. Where are my dice? Let me change out. Now, yeah, it's so sad. I didn't have, why? My camera's not on. Oops. So what things did you do with the variety group? Well, we did a tour. Well, we did tours. We would do up and down the East Coast. We did bars, nightclubs. We did theaters, big theaters. And then we did a West Coast tour. And Gurin Brother Hat Company was hiring us to do in-store appearances. And it was a magician, a sword swallower, and a strongman. And we did stuff together as a 3-person act. And then we would do individual acts. It was a big show. It was an hour-and-a-half show. I love the show. The problem is when you're working with groups, you know, oh, here we go, Giuseppe. I'm gonna roll this one here. So we would my favorite show we did. Hungarian. Cool. I've been to Hungary once too. That's a crazy story. If you watch my Transylvanian episode on Behind the Devil's Curtain, I talk about Hungary. Before I roll the dice. My favorite thing that we did for the New York Variety All-Stars is we were asked to open up for Nathan's hot dog contest. And let me tell you, it's like 14 to 16,000 people. Yeah, we did it. We did a magic act with the disappearing girl and the fire breathing as the end. It was like a whole thing. Very cool. Proud moment in my variety career. Coney Island, 14,000 people. Amanda, she's probably... I don't know if you were there, Amanda, when we did it. Amanda, you've seen New York Variety All-Stars, I believe. All right, here's a dice. I'm going to put on my hand cam. And here we go. Bada bing. Bada boom. And Giuseppe. There you go. Giuseppe Santa Sauce. It's all you, buddy. So Giuseppe Santa Sauce, I don't know where you are. Doesn't matter where you are. You need to get me your address and your name. And Yeah, it was a big crowd. And how you're going to get me your stuff is Instagram. Cardone Magic. Shoot me a message. And I will put you down. Oh, yeah, you did see the All-Star. I knew it. Yeah, I mean, we did Coney Island a bunch of times, too. I mean, I love the group. Adam Reelman's great. Chrissy Cocktail was great. Chrissy did it for most of it, and then we had Ekaterina. Pinky Special jumped in for a second, but it was a really cool variety group. One of the posters, if somebody orders the posters, is an all-star poster. We had some really great posters. And so this week, this is the prize. Giuseppe, you got to shoot me your address, and you will get one of these shirts. What size are you? Small, medium, large. I don't know if I have any XLs. What is this? These ones here are smalls, but I'm pretty sure I have all the sizes. This is a medium. Yeah. Let me know. Oh, at the gala. Yeah. We did the gala at Webster Hall. That was a good one, too. Oh, cool. Clownmus is on. He's great. I love that we have the same cup. Thank you. That's because of you, Helen. Giuseppe, where are you coming from? U.S., Europe, Italy? You have an Italian first name. Are you in Italy? Yeah, send me your address. I am going to get out of here. It's Friday. I hope we get a little bit of nice weather because I want to go out on well, not my new bike, but my bike is up and running. Yeah. Have a good weekend. We have a holiday here in the USA on Monday. It's basically a beer drinking holiday. You're a little Hungarian Irish Czech. Okay. Hungary's a cool country, I gotta say. They got a good vibe, too. They were pretty friendly there, too. Romania's a wild place, too. I loved it there. God, I haven't traveled in a while. Oh, you're in the USA. All right, Giuseppe. Well, find me on Instagram. Shoot me. Cardone Magic. Easy to find. Anybody else watching, follow me. I supplement this channel. Yeah, I'm going to get out of here. It's 20 after, and I am ready to start the party. Peter, thank you for all the support. Anybody watching? Peter Benedetti. Follow him on Instagram. Amazing artist. Oh, it's on Sunday. I love Clownvis. Clownvis is a great, great entertainer. William, thank you. You too. You have a good weekend, buddy. Everybody in here, Amanda, Helen, Giuseppe, Corey, Peter, Cassandra, Fallon. Thank you for the tip, Fallon. Really does mean a lot. Eric Carr, Corey, who else? William. There was some other people in here. Who was it? Dan P. Who else? Gosh, a lot of you. And if you're not participating in the chat, thank you too. All right, folks. Episode 70. My name is Cardone. This is Evening Hour. We're not doing a show on Monday. I need a day off. Next Wednesday, I will be back here, and I'm pretty sure we're going to have my balloon buddy, Todd Neufeld, a really famous balloon artist. And we're going to talk about balloon sculpting on a meta level. Okay? All right, folks. I'm Cardone, and I thank you from the bottom of my heart. Party on, Wayne.